Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining me for this video. This is going to be a Twitter talk video at the end. So basically what that means, I've done one other video like this before, but when I started videotaping this little video I'm doing, I put a little call out on my Twitter and I said, you know, let me know if you have any questions now, and your questions may get answered in my next video. I'll just try to get to as many as I can. So I've got my laptop sitting right over here, and we'll see, you know, how many tweets come in, and I will answer just randomly off the top of my head, whatever they might be. I'm not really going to look at them in advance, so that'll be fun. But first, how about back to school? Yay! No, I really was not a big fan of back to school when I was in high school. I just hated it when, like, halfway through the summer, you would see all these big back to school signs showing up in the stores, and I was like, no, I still want it to be summer, and I just was not too enthused about it. But something that might kind of get you in the spirit of back to school is a special section that I found at Target when I was there a few days ago. And you know they have Elf now in Target, at least my Target does, and I think most Targets do. Sorry, I think my camera's a little not straight. Here we go. Okay. No, but my Elf has Target, and they sell like some of the studio stuff and some of the $1 regular line stuff. But I saw this special section, and it appeared to me to be like a back to school zone. And so they had like some items for $1, and it was really clearly marked, just like at Christmas time. Remember I did that Christmas video and I was telling you about all these like slightly different repackaged redone items that were there just for Christmas time. Well, it's like that very same thing, but back to school. They had the $1, $3, $5, even some larger kits for like $10. So I kind of got to thinking, well, I need to try some of this so I can tell my subscribers about it. And I'm glad I did, because I'm pretty happy with what I picked up. I got a couple of these $3 palettes, and just real quickly, by the way, they had like lip glosses that appeared to be maybe a limited edition shade. They had liners that were repackaged. Things packed in like groups of 3 were $3 items, and it kind of varied from there. But I'll show you first these palettes I got. They were in boxes like this, and they said $3 on them with the little Apple sticker. That's how you can tell it's back to school. And the first one is a Neutral Shadows palette, and it looks like this, and it has 6 shades in it. And I just saw it, and I thought, that's very appealing to me. I just like the idea of, you know, getting more than a few shades in a palette, and this is very travel friendly too. Sometimes, you know, I love using out of the big palettes, but when I go to work and I want to take something to touch up with, I don't want to take a big palette. So this was nice. I used, for my look today, I actually used this shade and this shade, kind of a matte black, and then this shimmery sort of like champagne-y gold. You can see they're really pigmented, and what I also like is that there's a variety of textures there. Like I've got a matte shade there, a shimmery shade, nice really dark shade, and the staying power is actually really good. I used those, and then I took a pinky color and kind of blended out that darker shade at the top, but very impressed with the staying power. And like I said, you get a couple of matte colors, a few shimmers, and a dark shade. So that's the palette labeled Neutrals, and that was only $3. When you think about $3 for 6 colors in the palette, it does come with a little brush, but I really don't think it's going to be too user-friendly. It's really tiny. So anyway, use your own brushes, or just even a regular sponge tip applicator might have even been a little more functional than that tiny brushes. But I like that Neutrals palette, and then I went ahead and got the smoky one as well. Let me see. I don't know why I'm confused about how this opens. It opens like everything else. It looks like this, and it's kind of like smoky, but it gives you a pretty plum shade in there as well. Going across the top, you get like a white shade. The center shade is kind of like a really light gray, and then a more sparkly silver. Your black shade has some sparkle to it as well, and then this purple is super pretty. Love that. Here's a look at the black. I mean, the black is very black. The purple is purpley. There's like a pretty lilac shade as well with a little shimmer. So nicely pigmented colors. I think this would be a lot of fun to play with. And, you know, if you're a parent watching this, I mean, maybe you want to get your kid a little more excited about going back to school, or, you know, kind of getting in that transitional mode of, okay, it's going to soon be time to get up and, you know, get your butt in gear and get ready every morning. So maybe something like this could be fun, a fun way that, you know, you and your kid could bond a little bit and learn how to use the makeup, and then they could have something new to start their school year. Because it is like a time when I always thought about it as like every new school year I wanted to do something different. I like wanted to have a little different haircut, or I just wanted, you know, of course, new back to school clothes, but you kind of want to reinvent yourself almost. And I mean, makeup, if you're of the appropriate age, I mean, makeup is a great way to do that. I remember like going from junior high to high school, that was a big time for me. I really wanted to, you know, kind of reinvent my look for high school. But another really cool thing that they have are the $5. So these were each $3, and then for $5 they have these beauty books. And my Target was almost clearly sold out of these. They only had the smoky ones left and lip ones. They had lips, I think they had neutrals, smoky, and you'll have to check to see if there's anything different. But you may have seen the Beauty Encyclopedia things on the e.l.f. website. These are kind of like that, but not exactly. The layout of these isn't the same, and I think the other palettes had like a couple of different colors in there or something. So you can kind of look and see what's at Target and compare to the website, but it is still $5. These little things are called Beauty Encyclopedias on the website, and they're $5. So $5 at Target too. I got the smoky one, but to tell you the truth, seems like a total multi-purpose palette when you see these colors that you get here. Here we go, if I can hold it up there for you. Yeah, you've got a bunch of neutrals, but as you can see looking across the top, you've got great options for smoky. You go from white, which is basically a matte white shade, and then you've got like a sparkly deep silver, a black, a lighter silver, and so there's your classic smoky look right across the top. But down below you've got a lot of other shades. Some of these are more pigmented than others. I mean, there are a couple shades in here where I'm kind of like, why did they need, like, you know, sorry, I don't want my stuff to fall out of there, but like, why did they need both these two shades and these two? They seemed a lot alike, but they kind of have, there are a few of these that do have out and out glitter in them. It's like a little bit of a sparkly shade, and I don't really mind it, but just keep that in mind. Sometimes some of these that look matte aren't necessarily matte, but there are a couple that are genuinely matte, I assure you. But then there's a couple colors down here in the very bottom, these two, which I think are just phenomenal. Really unique. I really like the shades. There's this one that's kind of like it's like a taupe with a hint of purple and gray. Is like really interesting, and then I love the softness of this shade. It kind of reminds me of that Woodwinked shade by MAC down there in the corner. But it also gives you a mini brightening eyeliner, which is the pencil eyeliner that's like the $1 stuff from e.l.f. So they give you one of those, and they give you a double-ended sponge tip applicator there. There are also some suggested instructions over here on this side. This is like a little flap. I bet you could cut that off if you didn't like it, but I just haven't cut it off yet. But that little flap goes over. The only thing I didn't really like is how this was taped all the way around, and now it leaves some kind of sticky residue at the bottom. But overall, this is really cool, and I just think how great that would be. 12 eyeshadows. I mean, how much fun to play with. If I were back in high school and they had this stuff out in the stores, I would have been all over it. But there just weren't a lot of palettes like this out when I was going to school. I mean, it was like you had to get the classic little, you know, 3 or 4 colors in a palette, and that was all you got. But this would be fun to play with, and I think you get a lot of good out of it. So that's just like a taste of what's there at the e.l.f. In the e.l.f. area at Target. So if you have any questions, I mean, just check out your local store and see what they have. Some of this stuff like these are not like regular line e.l.f. items, so if you want them, you may have to get them now as part of this back to school promotion that I guess they're doing. Let's do some Twitter talk. I am looking now to see what questions I have. I do have to wake up really early. I get up at 1:30 a.m. to do my job, which is I anchor a morning newscast, so yeah, it's a really weird schedule, and I go to bed at probably around 7 o'clock Central Time, 6:30 or 7, and that doesn't always get me a full 8 hours, but I mean, what you gonna do? Like, I want to have a little time where I can see Tyler after he gets back from work. Tyler is my husband. So that kind of works for us, I guess, but I really would like to be able to see him more at the end of the day, but I like having a job too. I guess I started using makeup when I was in, I think later on, just a little bit, like later on in junior high, like maybe a little bit in 7th and 8th grade. But I wasn't super into it then. I think I was just really curious about it. And it wasn't till, you know, halfway through high school when I really decided, like, okay, I'm having a lot of fun with this and I love trying stuff from the drugstore. And fortunately, my mom was willing to let me experiment with drugstore stuff and see what I liked. And I mean, that was a key, like, kind of formative time for me. I was reading a lot of magazines, and that's where I got a lot of my ideas from, was from reading like Teen and 17, and like you see them recommend a product and then it's like, oh, I gotta get that now. Oh my gosh, I really don't like it when I get asked this question, because you guys know I use from so many different brands, and I would have to say, oh my gosh, I don't know if I've ever successfully answered this question with only one brand, but I love makeup from the drugstore because I think it's so accessible and it's so much fun because you can experiment and not feel like you're breaking the bank by doing so. But then there are some more expensive brands that I absolutely love the quality, the packaging of, and different stuff. I'd say on the high-end scale, I really am a fan of brands such as Too Faced and MAC. I would say those brands have not disappointed me very much, if at all, in terms of the things that I have tried from those brands. I really enjoy them. And in the drugstore, I like Revlon a lot. There are a lot of great products from Revlon. And I have a lot of favorites from CoverGirl as well. Oh my gosh. I mean, I could go on there. I seriously have something. I have likes and dislikes from almost every brand in the drugstore. I have been asked this, and I'm really not like on a timeline like I want to have kids by this time, but I do want to have kids. So I guess the answer is yes, I want to, but I'm not exactly sure when. I am exactly 5 feet tall. I am not a tall person at all. I wear a lot of shoes with heels, so I might appear to be a few inches taller than that, but standing flat-footed, I am 5 feet tall, and Tyler is 6'6" or 6'7". He's really tall. He's one of those two. I mean, people in high school were like, oh my gosh, you're so tall, or you're so short and he's so tall. Thank you so much, Kevin. And by the way, this was my 2-year anniversary at the station, not at the station, working on the morning show. I've been there for coming up on 4 years in August, but it'll be 2 years on the morning show. And Kevin is my co-anchor, and he is awesome. He's so easy to work with. He is just really funny and fun to be around. So thank you, Kevin, for a wonderful 2 years on the morning show and for participating in my Twitter talk. So anyway, that's all the questions I can get to right at this moment, but thank you so much for participating in that, everyone, and I will make sure to do it again in the near future. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.